Nick's album Hard Rock CD review. Today we're looking at Guns N' Roses, the mighty Guns N' Roses Use Your Illusion 2 album. Now they also released a Use Your Illusion 1 album within the same week or a week after or a week before. It sort of changed from different countries, but this is the second album. This is classed as a third album. This was released in September 1991, and I vividly remember this. I remember I remember the week when these albums came out, Use Your Illusion 2. It was just everywhere. It was the talk of the town. Guns N' Roses' new album. I still remember it vividly. And back then I had my $20 for a cassette tape, and I either got this one first or I got the Use Your Illusion 1. I vividly remember it, and great memories. $20 to buy a cassette tape. So anyway, we'll read the tracks off this album are Civil War, 14 Years, Yesterdays, Knocking on Heaven's Door, Get in the Ring, Shotgun Blues, Breakdown, Pretty Tied Up, Locomotive, So Fine, Estranged, You Could Be Mine, Don't Cry, and My World. Now, in regards to the song "Don't Cry," there's also another version on the Use Your Illusion 1 album. It's the same song, but this version here's got different lyrics. So exactly the same music, same guitars and all that, but just different words. So there you go. Just to show you how big this album was, within the first week of this album, just this album, not Use Your Illusion 1, but Use Your Illusion 2, this album sold 770,000 copies within the first week. I mean, that is just mind-blowing, absolutely mind-blowing. And I read as of 2010, so 10 years ago, this album has sold 5,587,000 copies. I mean, that is just astounding, absolutely astounding. And that's why Guns N' Roses became the biggest band in the world. There is no doubt in that. They're even bigger than the Rolling Stones. They're bigger than U2. They were just huge. And in regards to the album, it reached number one obviously in America, UK, New Zealand. Actually reached number one in Austria of all places, and here in Australia it reached number one. And it's in regards to album sales, I'm not going to go through them all because they are just huge. They're long and they are huge. All we can say is they are multi-platinum album sales throughout the whole world, and it's just absolutely beyond words, the album sales for this band. We'll just go through the band while we've got the boys here. Up the top there, wearing the red jacket, is Axl Rose, the lead vocals, and he also plays piano as well. Down the bottom there, just there, is Duff McKagan, the bass player. Sitting there in the middle is Dizzy Reed, keyboardist. Up the top there, dressed in black, is Matt Sorum, the drummer, and he actually took over from the original drummer, Steve Adler. Steve Adler was fired from the band in 1990, and also Matt Sorum, the guy standing there in the black, he also played in the band The Cult, which were a very successful band. He was the drummer in The Cult. Lying down there with the cigarette hanging out of his mouth is Slash, the lead guitars, and on the far right there, wearing the red shirt, is Izzy Stradlin, the rhythm guitarist. Now that they did release singles, the single "You Could Be Mine," which was actually the song that was off the Terminator 2 soundtrack. Terminator 2, which is the massive film starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. They also released Knocking on Heaven's Door, which is a cover of the famous Bob Dylan song. Song Yesterdays, Civil War, and Estranged. Now, in regards to this album, compared to their first album, this album is more complex. The the songs are more structured, both lyrically and musically. You really see that they've grown as a band and grown as songwriters. Some of the songs are even quite long, even off this album. Songs like Estranged, Breakdown, Locomotive are actually go for about 8-9 minutes. Some of them, it's just they've really branched out. And also, I should mention there's a song called "Get in the Ring," and that is really full on in regards to the singing and the words. There's a lot of bad language in it, I must admit. Get in the Ring, and that's aimed at the music critics and the music journalists that put Guns N' Roses down and made up lies about them. And so Axl Rose is in full flight and he's just going off at them. It's not for the faint-hearted, that in regards to language-wise. But he's having a real aim at all the music journalists that tried to put Guns N' Roses down. And there's also another song called Shotgun Blues, which is aimed at Vince Neil, the lead singer of Motley Crue, and that doesn't hold back either. That's full of spite and venom, because Axl Rose and Vince Neil, lead singer of Motley Crue, they had a falling out, a massive falling out back in 1989. And I think even to this day they still hate each other. I think that they still haven't made up. So there's a lot of bad blood between those two singers. So that's aimed at Vince Neil, the song Shotgun Blues, and as I said, not for the faint-hearted either, so language-wise. But look, just an absolute epic landmark of an album, this one, and also Use Your Illusion 1, which I will review, obviously. It just shows Guns N' Roses going from strength to strength, and it's no wonder they became the biggest band in the world. It's hard to... My favourite tracks would have to be 14 Years, Pretty Tied Up, Shotgun Blues, Get in the Ring, So Fine, Estranged, and You Could Be Mine. Now, compare this to, say, Use Your Illusion 1. It's tough to pick the better album, the better Illusion albums. I actually lean more towards Use Your Illusion 1 over this album. Nothing wrong with this album, a fantastic album, a brilliant album, but I'm more favourable to Use Your Illusion 1. So as I keep saying with my reviews, that's my personal opinion. So anyway, I give this an 8 out of 10. What can I say? Guns N' Roses is one of my favourite, one of the favourite of my bands. As I said, I saw these guys live in '93, and my God, what an experience! What an experience seeing absolute legends live in the flesh. So this is as I said, I listen to my CDs before I do the album review, and I was listening to this, and it took me down memory lane. It really did, back to the early '90s, 1991. It just took me back down memory lane. It absolutely brilliant. So there we are, the mighty Guns N' Roses, and don't worry, I've got more Guns N' Roses to review. So there we go. So 8 out of 10. Fantastic album, fantastic band, as we all know. All right then, so thank you for watching, and I should also actually let you guys know, let's move my coffee out of the way. I picked up some new CDs. I got White Lion, Big Game, Faster Pussycat's third album, Whipped, White Lion, another White Lion, their first album, another White Lion, their used to be their second album, and another White Lion, their fourth album. So really enjoying this. Great stuff, White Lion. And of course, one of my personal favourite bands, Faster Pussycat, love them. Anyway, I'll get around to doing them. Don't worry about that. So there we go, Guns N' Roses, fantastic. So thank you again for watching, and I hope everyone's doing well and staying safe and looking after each other. Until then, take care everyone, and rock on. Bye-bye.